I'm Eleanor. I work in pharmaceutical compliance. Yeah, I'm basically a corporate rule enforcer. I'm good at it. Always have been. Maybe too good. It's not exactly a job that inspires water cooler gossip. I live a pretty structured life in a suburb of Hartford, Connecticut. A life I thought was good, secure, stable. Then came the post. It was a picture. My sister Bethany, beaming like she just won the lottery, holding a newborn baby in a hospital bed. My parents, flanking her, looking like they'd finally achieved their life's purpose. The caption read, "Welcome to the world, baby Emma. Our sweet angel has arrived." My stomach dropped. Bethany wasn't pregnant. Not that I knew of. We're not exactly close. She's always been different. Let's just say Bethany has a way of attracting attention, and she isn't afraid to do so. Then I saw it. On the bedside table, nestled amongst the get well cards and the flowers, was his wallet. My husband, David's wallet. A black leather Mont Blanc I'd given him for Christmas 2 years ago. He carries nothing else, so I know it's his. Right next to it, his stupid keychain, a miniature dice cup he picked up in Vegas on a business trip. It was undeniably, brutally his. David was supposed to be in Chicago on a business trip this week. He even kissed me goodbye Tuesday morning, briefcase in hand, talking about a big deal he was closing. Chicago. Right. My hands started shaking so bad I almost dropped my phone. The room seemed to spin. I had to consciously remember to breathe. I did the only thing I could think of. I typed, "Congratulations, wishing you all the best." Hit send. Then, I got up, grabbed my keys, and walked out of the office. Where do you even go when your entire world turns inside out? I don't have kids, I don't have friends I talk to, I don't have anything in my life seemingly. I'm sitting in my car now, in the parking garage, trying to make sense of it all. The air feels thick, heavy. The sun is glaring off the windshield. I need a plan. I need to do something. I can't just sit here. My first thought was to scream, to rage, to burn the house down. Then, I remembered what I do for a living. I gather evidence. I follow procedures. I stay calm under pressure. So, that's what I did. I went back to my office, took screenshots of the Facebook post, saved the comments, everything. Date, time, number of likes, the whole 9 yards. Then, I found the business card for Blackstone Detective Agency, a firm we use for internal investigations at FarmCo. I called them. I asked for John Blackstone himself. I told him I needed a discreet personal investigation. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "I understand, Ms. Wilson. We'll get right on it." Since then, I've been a machine. I canceled my meetings for the rest of the day, told my assistant I was sick. I haven't told David anything. He sent a text this morning saying his meetings were going well and he'd call tonight. I haven't responded. I'm still reeling. I don't understand how this could happen. David and we've been married for 5 years. We have a good life. We're successful. No major problems. He's not particularly outwardly emotional, but he's never been mean. Except he's been sleeping with my sister, and apparently, he's also a father now. My biggest fear is not that my husband is cheating with my sister, it's the questions of everyone else involved. The detectives will have answers soon. But I can't help but wonder if this is the right thing to do. I've always handled things logically and professionally, but now it feels like the only choice. Waiting for the answers feels like an eternity. The Blackstone reports are coming in. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. First, David's business trip to Chicago. Blackstone confirmed he never boarded a flight. There is a reservation for him at the Ritz-Carlton near Memorial Hospital. Security footage shows him entering and leaving the hotel multiple times over the past 9 months. And he's been with Bethany. Always Bethany. Then, the credit card statements. Romantic dinners, high-end baby stores, even a weekend getaway to a spa in the Poconos. The timeline lines up with Bethany's pregnancy. The phone records are even worse. Over 500 calls between David and Bethany in the last year. Most of them late at night when I was working, and a bunch of calls and texts between Bethany and my parents. It confirms my worst fear. Everyone knew. I don't know if I can handle that. Blackstone also pulled Bethany's hospital records. Pregnancy confirmed 9 months ago. Regular checkups. Everything meticulously documented, with David present at the checkups. David holding her hand at the checkups. Mr. Blackstone said, "With this much evidence, you'll have a significant advantage in divorce mediation." Divorce. It sounds so final, so real. He offered to connect me with a lawyer. I said yes. The lawyer, Sarah Cohen, is a shark. Exactly what I need. She has seen it all. She just kept reminding me that this is a new life. I'm supposed to meet with her tomorrow to discuss the legal strategy. I feel sick. Not physically, but emotionally. I don't want to do this. I want to go back to the way things were, even though I know that's impossible. I don't want a divorce, but I don't see any other option. This is a betrayal on so many levels. It's my husband, it's my sister, it's my parents, and they were all working together behind my back for months. I received a Facebook notification from my sister's post once again. More likes, more comments, more congratulations. It feels like everyone is celebrating my humiliation. Blackstone also quietly said, "Many clients become emotional when faced with such situations, but your composure is remarkable." "It's what I learned in the compliance department," I said. "Gather evidence, follow procedures, don't get swept up in emotions." But inside, I'm screaming. Today was the day. I went to my parents' house. Sarah Cohen was with me. It was a disaster. I'm still processing it all. My parents' house is the same as it's always been. Manicured lawn, rose bushes, the brass door knocker my mom loves. Everything looks normal, and that made it all the more surreal. The atmosphere in the living room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. My parents were there, looking nervous. Bethany was holding the baby, trying to look innocent. David stood by the window, his face pale. I barely looked at David. "Thank you all for gathering here today," I said. My voice was surprisingly steady. Sarah Cohen opened her briefcase. The sound echoed in the silence. "What kind of gathering is this?" my mother asked, her voice tight. "It's a place to discuss the truth," I said calmly. I laid out the evidence. The hotel photos, the credit card statements, the hospital records, the phone logs, all of it. My father's face turned ashen. "Wait, let me explain," David stammered. At first it was just sympathy. Bethany seemed lonely. "Lonely?" I said, my voice trembling slightly. "Or were you just bored with our marriage?" "That's not it," he said. Before I knew it, I was in too deep. "I really love you, Eleanor. Can't we forget everything and start over?" "Start over?" I laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. "You can say that after seeing all of this?" Bethany suddenly stood up, handing the baby to my mother. "Yes, I did it," she said, her voice shrill. I wanted to ruin Big Sister's perfect life, always being compared. Big Sister is smart, Big Sister is excellent, Big Sister is... Bethany? My mother tried to stop her, but Bethany would not stop. Big Sister ruined my life. Parents' expectations, everyone's evaluation, everything. So I wanted to do the same to her. "Be quiet," my father shouted, but his voice lacked conviction. "And you, Dad," I said, turning to him. "Why did you turn a blind eye? According to the detective's report, you knew about their relationship." Silence descended on the room. My mother started to cry. Sarah Cohen cleared her throat. "Mrs. and Mr. Anderson," she said gently, addressing my parents, "could you tell us about your past?" My mother's face went white. "How did you know?" "We've investigated everything," I said. "Your teenage pregnancy, hasty marriage." "Stop!" my mother screamed. "Is that why you were so obsessed with Bethany's happy marriage?" I asked. "Is that also why you said we'll do something grander for Bethany at my wedding? You didn't want her to struggle like you did?" "I didn't want her to make the same mistakes as me. Appearances matter," she said, tears streaming down her face. "And what about my life?" I said, the emotion finally breaking through. "What about my happiness?" My father stood up. "Eleanor, Dad was influenced by Mom and overprotected Bethany," Violet interrupted. "My independence was misunderstood as cold, and we grew apart, and you turned a blind eye to your daughter's affair, all for the sake of family appearances." No one could argue. The evidence was too clear. I went through the next steps. First, the divorce mediation schedule. I'll report to Basil's company and Memorial Hospital. By tomorrow, the investigation results about their inappropriate relationship. I'll demand substantial compensation from you, Basil, including money to sell the parents' house and relocate here." The baby started crying. My mother rocked her silently. The once perfect family portrait was crumbling before their eyes. "Let's end this," I said. I stood up. Cohen quietly packed up her documents. "Eleanor," my mother called out one last time, "are you really—" "I'm going to be happy," I said, turning to face her. "This time, for real." I walked out of the living room, leaving them to their mess. I didn't look back. My new life had already begun. It's been 3 months since the family meeting. A lot has happened. The divorce is finalized. It was messy, but Sarah Cohen made sure I got everything I deserved. David is a shell of his former self. He was fired from his firm and is now working at some small securities firm, making 1/3 of his previous salary. Bethany was also fired from the hospital and is now living with my parents. The single mom life seems to be more challenging than she anticipated. My parents sold their house and moved to a different state. They were mortified by the scandal. They lost a lot of friends. I feel nothing for them. I received a promotion at Farmco. I'm now the director of compliance. The irony is not lost on me. I'm attending yoga classes on weekends. I have brunch with friends I made there. I'm even going on a date with a professor I met online. He is a genuine individual who I am slowly getting to know. I'm happy, truly happy. I'm looking at a photo of my wedding with David. My expression is bland. David is smiling, but there's nothing genuine in his eyes. My mother is beaming, and my dad seems unsure of the current situation. It's weird to think that I actually thought I was happy at the time. I put the photo in the shredder. This is a new beginning. I'm building a life that's truly mine. No more lies, no more betrayal, no more living for other people. I learned from my past. Now I am building my future. A future with myself in it. Looking back, I realized something profound. The betrayal cut deepest because it came from those who should have loved me the most. But, in the end, their actions were a gift. They forced me to confront a life built on false pretenses. They pushed me to reclaim my own narrative. My parents valued appearances over my happiness. David saw me as a stepping stone. Bethany envied my success. They all conspired to keep me in a box. I broke out of that box. Revenge was a byproduct of my pursuit of justice and self-respect. It wasn't the driving force. The driving force was me, my worth, my happiness. My story isn't just about betrayal, it's about resilience, reinvention, and self-worth. I was deceived, but I didn't let it break me. I meticulously gathered the truth, confronted my wrongdoers, and ensured they faced the consequences. But my greatest victory wasn't revenge. It was taking control of my own life. Too often, women are expected to endure betrayal for the sake of family, to remain silent, to keep the peace. My story challenges that expectation. I didn't just survive, I thrived. I proved that true strength isn't about staying quiet in the face of injustice, but about standing up, demanding accountability, and walking away from those who don't deserve a place in your life. And I walked away. I never would have guessed I'd get to this point in my life. To have friends, a career, and a potential romantic partner. Most of all, I wouldn't think that I could be genuinely happy. I had given up on the thought long ago. What do you think? Should I have exposed my husband, sister, and parents so publicly? Or would a quieter approach have been better? Should family loyalty remain intact no matter the betrayal? Share your thoughts. It has been quiet since my last post. I guess people are still processing everything. I've been doing the same. I'm still wrestling with some lingering questions. The biggest one is, could I have done anything differently? Could I have seen the signs? Could I have prevented any of this? I replay conversations in my head, searching for clues I missed. Was David distant? Was Bethany overly attentive? Were my parents subtly pushing me away? The answer is probably yes to all of the above. But I was so focused on my career, on meeting expectations, on being the good daughter, that I didn't see what was happening right in front of me. I also wonder about David. What drove him to do what he did? Was it just boredom? Was it a midlife crisis? Was he truly unhappy with me? I'll probably never know the answers. And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's better to move on and not dwell on the whys. But I can't help but feel a twinge of something. Not sadness exactly. Not regret. Maybe just a sense of what could have been. What should have been? I keep thinking about my conversation with my lawyer, Sarah. She gave me some very concrete steps on how to get back on my feet. But one line has stuck with me. It's like you are holding onto the steering wheel, but you aren't driving. In a way, what they did was they forced me to take back my power. I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to heal. But I'm on the right path. I haven't dated since college. I met David shortly after graduating, and we were together ever since. The whole world of dating apps and online profiles is completely foreign to me. But, as I mentioned, I've been talking to this professor. His name is Ethan. He teaches history at a local university. We matched on The League. Yes, I know. It's a little pretentious, but I liked the screening process. Our conversations have been surprisingly stimulating. He's smart, witty, and genuinely interested in my thoughts and opinions. He doesn't talk down to me or try to impress me. He just listens. And I listen to him. We have our first date tonight. Dinner at a new farm-to-table restaurant downtown. I'm nervous. Really nervous. I haven't felt this way in years. I'm worried about so many things. What if he doesn't like me in person? What if the conversation dries up? What if I say something stupid? What if I'm not ready for this? But I'm also excited. I'm excited to meet someone new, to explore new possibilities, to feel alive again. I'm trying to keep my expectations low. I don't want to get my hopes up too high, only to be disappointed. But I can't help but feel a sense of optimism. Maybe, just maybe, this could be something special. I'll let you know how it goes. Wish me luck. The restaurant was lovely, the food was delicious, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. We talked about everything: history, politics, books, movies, even my job. I didn't go into too much detail about my personal life, but I did mention that I'd recently gone through a divorce. He didn't pry. He just listened and offered a few words of encouragement. He's so easy to talk to. He has a way of making me feel comfortable and relaxed. It felt like I was talking to an old friend, not a complete stranger. We laughed a lot. We found that we have a lot in common. We even debated the merits of different historical eras. I'm a big fan of the Enlightenment. He's more partial to the Renaissance. It was fun. At the end of the night, he walked me to my car. He didn't try to kiss me or even hold my hand. He just smiled and said, "I had a really great time, Eleanor. I'd love to do this again." I said, "I'd like that too." He texted me a few minutes later, thanking me for the evening and saying he was looking forward to seeing me again. I'm smiling as I write this. I haven't smiled like this in a long time. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm excited to find out. Maybe Ethan is just a nice guy and nothing more. But maybe, just maybe, he's something more. I'm going to take things slow. I'm going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to be open to whatever comes my way. I'm going to let myself be happy. Things with Ethan are progressing nicely. We've gone on a few more dates. He's even more wonderful than I initially thought. Smart, funny, kind, and incredibly thoughtful. He listens intently when I speak, remembers small details about my life, and makes me feel valued and appreciated. It's still early, but I'm cautiously optimistic. However, the past has a way of creeping back in when you least expect it. Yesterday, I received a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me I should. It was Bethany. She sounded different, weak, almost defeated. "Eleanor," she said, her voice barely a whisper. I need to talk to you." My first instinct was to hang up, but curiosity and a strange sense of obligation kept me on the line. "What do you want, Bethany?" I asked, my voice cold. I'm sorry," she said, her voice cracking. "For everything. I know it doesn't mean much, but I truly am sorry." I didn't say anything. I just waited for her to continue. Things aren't going well," she said. "It's hard being a single mom. Mom and Dad are difficult. And David, he's not around. He barely calls. He sends money, but that's it. You created this mess, Bethany, I said, my voice rising. You can't expect me to feel sorry for you. I know, she said. I don't. I needed to tell you that I regret everything. I regret hurting you. I regret ruining our family. I regret everything. Why are you telling me this now? I asked, suspicion creeping into my voice. Because I need help, she said. I need a job. I don't know. I'm lost. I was silent for a long moment. I didn't know what to say. I can't help you, Bethany, I said finally. I'm sorry, but you made your choices. Now you have to live with them. I understand, she said quietly. Thank you for listening. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, feeling numb. Part of me felt a flicker of sympathy for her. She's in a difficult situation, and she's clearly struggling. But another part of me feels nothing but resentment. She destroyed my life. She betrayed me in the worst possible way. And now she wants my help? The responses to my last post have been varied. Some people are telling me to stay far away from Bethany, that she deserves everything that's happening to her. Others are urging me to show compassion, to offer her a helping hand, to forgive her. I've been thinking about it a lot. It's not an easy decision. On one hand, Bethany caused me immense pain. She betrayed my trust, ruined my marriage, and turned my family against me. She doesn't deserve my sympathy, let alone my help. On the other hand, she's a single mother struggling to raise a child. She's lost her career, her reputation, and her support system. She's clearly desperate, and despite everything, she's still my sister. I'm a compliance officer. My job is to make ethical decisions, to weigh the pros and cons, to consider the impact of my actions on others. So, what's the ethical thing to do in this situation? Is it to uphold justice? To let Bethany face the consequences of her actions? Or is it to show mercy? To offer her a second chance? I've been talking to Ethan about it. He's been incredibly supportive. He doesn't tell me what to do. He just listens, asks thoughtful questions, and helps me to see the situation from different perspectives. He said something that really resonated with me. Forgiveness isn't about condoning what someone did. It's about releasing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. I'm not sure I'm ready to forgive Bethany, but I'm starting to think that I need to find a way to move past my anger, to let go of the past so that I can fully embrace the future. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm leaning towards offering Bethany some kind of assistance. Not a free pass, not a complete forgiveness, but a chance to redeem herself. Maybe I'll help her find a job. Maybe I'll connect her with some resources for single mothers. Maybe I'll just listen to her when she needs someone to talk to. I'm not sure it's the right decision, but it feels like the right thing to do. It wasn't easy. It took me hours to compose the text message. I wanted to be clear, but not cold. Compassionate, but not naive. I finally sent, Bethany, I'm willing to talk. Meet me for coffee tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. at the Bean Scene. I held my breath, waiting for her response. It felt like an eternity. Finally, my phone buzzed. Okay, she replied. Thank you, Eleanor. I barely slept last night. I kept replaying our conversation in my head, imagining how the meeting would go. I was terrified. This morning, I got ready slowly. I wanted to look professional, but approachable. I chose a simple black dress and a comfortable pair of shoes. I arrived at the Bean Scene a few minutes early. I found a table in the back, away from the crowds. I waited. At 10:15, Bethany walked in. She looked rough. Her hair was unkempt, her eyes were bloodshot, and she was wearing clothes that looked several sizes too big. She was carrying Emma in a baby carrier. She saw me and walked over to the table. Hi, Eleanor, she said softly. Hi, Bethany, I replied. We sat in silence for a moment, just looking at each other. It was awkward and uncomfortable. Thank you for meeting me, she said finally. I'm not doing this for you, Bethany, I said coldly. I'm doing this for Emma. Her face fell. I understand, she said quietly. We ordered coffee. I asked her how she was doing. She told me about the challenges of being a single mother, about the financial struggles, about the emotional toll. I listened. I didn't offer any sympathy. I just listened. After a while, she started to cry. "I messed up so badly, Eleanor," she sobbed. "I ruined everything. I don't know what to do." I reached across the table and put my hand on her arm. "It's going to be okay, Bethany," I said softly. "You're going to get through this." I told her that I was willing to help her find a job. I told her that I would connect her with some resources for single mothers. I told her that I would be there for her if she needed someone to talk to. But I also made it clear that I wasn't going to forgive her. Not completely. Not yet. "This is a start, Bethany," I said. "It's a chance to rebuild your life, but it's up to you to make it happen." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, Eleanor," she said. "Thank you." The meeting ended on a tentative, hopeful note. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Maybe, just maybe, this is the first step towards reconciliation. The past few weeks have been transformative. Rebuilding trust, even just a sliver of it, has been a monumental task. Bethany is working hard. She enrolled in a job training program, and she's been diligently applying for positions. It's difficult, minimum wage jobs are not easy to come by. She even volunteered a few days a week in a local food bank. It's humbling, and she has confided that she feels like she's really helping people. The other day when I asked her, "So what are you thinking?" she replied with, "It's better than doing nothing." She's also been attending therapy. She tells me it's helping her to understand her motivations, her insecurities, and her need for validation. I've been supporting her in every way I can. I helped her create a resume, practice her interview skills, and navigate the complexities of childcare. I've also been spending time with Emma. She's a sweet, adorable little girl. Surprisingly, spending time with Emma is also helping me heal. I had never considered being a mother myself, but holding Emma, playing with her, watching her smile, it brings me a sense of joy that I never knew existed. I never understood the appeal of small children, but I found that caring for her really does bring a sense of peace in my life. My relationship with Ethan is also flourishing. He's been incredibly patient and understanding throughout this whole process. He knows that I'm still dealing with a lot of emotional baggage, but he never pushes me to do anything I'm not ready for. One day he said, "I'll wait and drive and cheer from the sidelines if you need it." His support is constant, and I feel like I truly found someone great in my life. He did give me some insight. I had told him, "I still question myself sometimes." He replied with, "You've gone through the worst and managed to stay grounded and strong. You are who you want to be." We've been talking about the future, about marriage, about children, about building a life together. It's scary, but also exciting. I'm starting to think that I can have it all. A fulfilling career, a loving relationship, and a supportive family. It won't be the same family I envisioned before. It will be something different, something better. I realize that forgiveness is a process, not a destination. It takes time, effort, and a willingness to let go of the past. I may never fully forgive Bethany for what she did, but I'm starting to see her as a person, not just as a villain. I am still waiting. But as time passes, I can really consider the option. I'm also starting to forgive myself for not seeing the signs, for not speaking up sooner, for not protecting myself from the betrayal. I realize that I'm not perfect. I made mistakes, but I'm learning from them. And I'm moving forward. Life is still a work in progress, but I'm finally in the driver's seat. Today was a big day for Bethany. She had a job interview. She'd been working with a local nonprofit that helps disadvantaged women find employment. They were able to get her an interview for an administrative assistant position at a small law firm. She was incredibly nervous. She spent hours preparing, practicing her answers to common interview questions, and choosing the perfect outfit. I offered to watch Emma while she was at the interview. She hesitated at first, unsure if she could trust me, but I reassured her that I just wanted to help. I picked Emma up from Bethany's apartment at 1 p.m. I could tell that Emma was upset to be separated from her mother, but she quickly warmed up to me. We went to the park, played on the swings, and fed the ducks. It was a beautiful day. I thought about what a law firm would think if she revealed her past, but she assured me that she would be honest about everything. At 4 p.m., Bethany texted me. "I'm done," she wrote. "Can you meet me at the bean scene?" I packed up Emma and headed over to the coffee shop. My heart was pounding with anticipation. When I arrived, I saw Bethany sitting at a table in the back, her face buried in her hands. I sat down beside her and put my hand on her shoulder. "How did it go?" I asked gently. She lifted her head and looked at me. Her eyes were red and swollen. "I didn't get it," she said, her voice cracking. "They said they were going with someone who had more experience." I felt a pang of disappointment. I knew how much this job meant to her. "I'm sorry, Bethany," I said, "but don't give up. There will be other opportunities." "I don't know, Eleanor," she said. "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I'm destined to be a failure." "Don't say that," I said firmly. "You're not a failure. You're a strong, capable woman. You just need to keep trying." I reminded her of all the progress she'd made in recent months. I told her that I believed in her, even if she didn't believe in herself. She looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Eleanor," she said. "You're the only one who believes in me." I held her hand. I knew that this was just a temporary setback. Bethany was a fighter. She would bounce back, and I would be there to support her every step of the way.